talk forever, but I just don't think that that came about by accident over billions of years. Why? Because I want to press my point? No, because I am terrified. I am terrified that he spoke that into existence. Not terrified like he's going to hurt me, but terrified like he loves me. Terrified like he's got a plan. Terrified like he knows where I am. Terrified like I want to be in his presence. This is just the start. This is just the beginning. I was thinking about this week, and I was thinking about the kestrel. There's this really amazing hawk. I don't know, it's a bird of prey, and it's just an amazing bird. And it flies so fast that it actually has eyelids that are see-through. And when it's flying so fast, if you've ever been on a motorcycle and you get a bug in your eye, it's really painful. So God designed a second eyelid, and it's on different kinds of animals, but it closes its eye, but it sees through the eyelid. It has another eyelid that it can close to cut out the light, but it's called a nictitating membrane. And so I just like that. I just think it's cool that some of these birds of prey have goggles that they can use that when they're going really fast, that bugs don't hit them in the eye. That happened. Those membranes, I know that's goofy. I think probably Jason's the only one who's happy about that illustration. But listen. Those clear goggles on those birds happened because it happened inside one of those cells. One of those cells made, listen to me, it produced goggles for the bird and gave it see-through goggles for the bird. That's my God. That's my God, and that's just one of the billions and billions of things that he does. And rather than 4 billion years, I'm going to tell you that he has 4 billion ideas. He has 4 billion ideas. I don't care about the years. He has 4 billion ideas. Did you see those little folding creatures? Those are molecules. And what he does is, in some places, he folds up a molecule and then he throws it out of the cell. And it's caught by another cell with the exact opposite shape of that. The exact negative shape of that. It'll fly out into the air and another molecule, another organism will catch it. And if it doesn't fit like this, an exact fit, it doesn't work. And so God ordained these bizarre ways of dealing with life. These beautiful, elegant ways of dealing with life, like the butterfly that we talked about last time. He's worthy of praise, not just because that's a churchy thing to say, but because of what you see. We can praise him or not, but that's what you see. That's who he is. And he did that because he wants to have a relationship with us. He made this so that we would respect him. He made this so we could know him. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, you are the first generation that has a chance to see that he means business. He means business. He is not playing. Does that look like he's playing? He means business. The third point. Let's take a look at the third point. Okay. There's a little tiny motor. And you could fit 80 million of these motors across the top of the cross-section of a hair. 80 million of these motors could fit across the top of the cross-section of one strand of hair. Let's look. How should I do this? All right, let me tell you this first. One of the things that happens with macroevolution is that people that believe in macroevolution believe that over billions of years, you keep adding things to things so that eventually good things happen. Meaning that if we're going to make a motor, we're going to look at a motor here in a minute. If we're going to make a motor that the first 100,000 years you get 5 parts, the next 500 million or 100,000 years you get 10 more parts, and then over a billion years you get 30 parts, right? You with me? And over 3 billion years you get all the parts to the machines. That's what evolution says, is that if we keep adding parts, that eventually we'll get something good. You with me? We keep adding things, and if we keep adding parts, eventually we get something good. Let's roll this video. And I'm pretty sure we can skip through these ads, so if you advance it, I think it's like 30 seconds in, we can advance this. And Right, back up. I'm sorry, it's not quite that much. 20 seconds. Keep going, back. Right there, should be good.
Evolution teaches that bacteria were one of the first life forms to evolve from chemicals. Many bacteria propel themselves with a type of miniature motor called a flagellum. These extremely efficient reversible motors rotate up to 100,000 revolutions per minute.
Okay, pause it.
The bacterial motor is
Alright, this is janky. There's some better pictures, there's some better videos online. But this is a motor. This motor, you could put 8 million of them across one strand of hair. Okay? This motor is made up of 40 of those little parts that we saw being made. It's made up of 40. All 40 parts of this motor have to be in place in order for it to work. That means at 1 billion years, if you don't have all the parts, it doesn't work. If 2 billion years you don't have all the parts, guess what? It doesn't work. 3 billion years, if it doesn't have all the parts, all 40 parts, it will not work. It's called irreducible complexity. That's a fancy pants word for it. And basically, one of the reasons why I believe in creationism is that you can't gradually accumulate parts for a machine. If all these machine parts are not there, it won't work. Maybe that's too technical. But when you talk about macroevolution, what you're going to hear in class is that if you add a little, it gets better. And if you add a little bit more, it gets better. And you add a little bit more, it doesn't get better. Imagine like this. Imagine you're in a canoe and you have to haul around an outboard motor that doesn't work. Right? That's not helpful. And that's exactly what's going on here. If you don't have all these parts at one time, the motor doesn't work. Let's go ahead and play the rest of this video.
similar to an electric motor. It has a filament that acts as a propeller, a universal joint, a stator and a rotor, and a drive shaft with bushings. Each part of the motor must function, or the bacteria will die. Since bacteria can start, stop, and change direction and speeds, they must have sophisticated sensors, switches, and control mechanisms. All of this is highly miniaturized. 8 million of these motors would fit in the cross-sectional area of a human hair. While bacteria are small, they are not simple.
You know, I think probably the weakest link in all of evolution theory is the idea of the origin of life from non-living chemicals. It's probably easier to get from a cell to a person than it is to get from chemicals to life. The gap there is just so incredibly large. I'm convinced that life is so complicated, so complex, so intricately engineered that wherever life exists, God created it. It could not